Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Professor Joost Drenth. You're chair of the Department of Gastroenterology and Hepatology of the Radboud Medical Center, Nijmegen. We call it Nimwegen, is that correct?
That's
in the Netherlands.
Completely correct, sir.
And Professor Alexander Meining, head of Gastroenterology, University Würzburg, Germany. Now, 2019 marks a new era for the UEG journal, since Professor Joost Drenth has been editor-in-chief of this well-established publication for almost a year now. He is accompanied by a team of 6 associate editors, one of them being Professor Meining. Now, let's start with you, Joost. What it is like being the editor of such a prestigious journal?
Well, it brings in a lot of joy and energy, especially to work with a good team that is currently surrounding me. And also we have introduced the concept of young trainee editors. Those are young gastroenterologists coming from the young talent group of the UEG that actually bring something new to the stage for the journal. Well, the journal, as you say, is in really full swing. So we're really doing in order to cater to the needs of the gastroenterologists in Europe and to improve the journal.
And as I said, you are accompanied by a team of 6 associate editors. Is that a new thing that you do with the UEG journal, or has this been the way it worked all the time?
Well, formerly there were 4 associate editors, and we have expanded the number of associate editors in order to serve the needs of gastroenterology better. We've expanded, especially with respect to endoscopy, but also IBD, neurogastroenterology, motility, small bowel disease. So we want to really go for a broad spectrum of disorders, and we need the expertise.
You need the expertise, obviously. And Alexander, please tell us, what's the responsibilities and the duties of an associate editor?
Well, first of all, it's always good to have a boss that you can rely on, and he's a very good boss.
Always good.
So it's a lot of fun from my side also, not only to work for the journal and for the society, but also to work for and together with Joost. And my duty is more or less that we have several filters included. And Joost is the first filter, and then I am the second filter, and my duty is to have, because I'm a little bit more familiar with the topic, since I'm more related to endoscopy, so I read the paper very closely, and then I decide from my side whether this is a paper that is worth to undergo a review process. And then my duty is to select reviewers, which is not so easy sometimes, and then as soon as the reviews come in, judge on the reviews, and then I go back to Joost and he makes the final decision.
So that's how it works. Now, science is a moving target. It's changing constantly. So it takes you not by surprise that publishing is, the same holds true for publishing, especially for scientific papers. So you're facing challenges almost every day. What are, in your mind, the most important challenges these days in publishing scientific papers?
Well, picking up the pulse of society, but also of your scientific society, is very important. The challenges that we meet is to get the readership that we really want and to capture the audience with the scientific content that we actually offer. So to engage with people, to engage with readers, that's, I think, the most important point at this stage of the life cycle of the journal. And you realize that we are in changing times. A physical magazine, a physical journal is a thing of the past. So we need to engage with people through social media, attractive designs, better figures, summary points. And that is something that we really go for at this point in time. And we've designed a program in order to make the content of the UEG journal more accessible and better visible for readers.
You just mentioned it, social media accessibility. Is there anything in particular you plan for the future? You always do a lot in these new technologies, don't you?
Maybe I can answer. I think that's also things changed with the help of our young editors team, because we are not the younger ones anymore, but we realized that the young editors, they took a lot of effort in social media. They're very, very active with Twitter, Facebook, and everything that's around there. And I think both of us, we learned how important this can be because it really attracts a lot of people reading the journal and downloading some of the papers that are published in the journal. So this is very helpful, and hopefully we'll proceed with that and maybe even enhance it.
Yeah, so just printing a journal is not enough in these days, is it?
No, no, unfortunately not. These times are, I think, over. We still have it printed because I personally, I still like to read something on paper.
How many copies is that?
Excuse me?
How many copies?
How many copies?
Well,
you know
250 are being printed and distributed over stakeholders in Europe and elsewhere.
But I guess most of your audience will access the paper online and through other channels.
True, and by telephone or by a laptop.
Yeah. Now, talking about ethics in publishing is another big issue these days, and you're not very far away from fake news, which comes around this term. And fake news, to my understanding, have been around since ancient times. But the difference is that new technologies facilitate rapid dissemination of fake news. So I think this is challenging you as a publisher as well, isn't it? What are your tools to cope with that?
Well, first of all, I think it's very important to mention that we are very keen on the ethical side of the story. We require authors who have performed research in their environment to bring ethical permission to the table, as I think that for all type of study, whether it's a randomized clinical trial or a observational study, it's important to have your ethics in place and have the permission of your local committee. So we really, really check that. Next thing that we do is, in order to prevent plagiarism or duplicate publication, we have a software system in place that checks your content of your manuscript through the internet and see whether there's duplication. So I think with those two elements we have built in some firewalls in order to prevent massive plagiarism.
Yeah.
But the last and least very important step is, of course, the experts that we have in the field. They really know where the paper is coming from and they know whether it's true or not true.
Right. Anything to add from your side?
I think that's all I said, but you have to be careful, and you have to check that, because I think that would be a real mistake for a journal to publish something that is just wrong and misleading.
It's one of the mistakes you want to avoid, I guess.
But I think we have, as Joost mentioned, there are several safety measures to avoid that. But at the end, it's you that you read the paper, and if anything sounds familiar and you've seen or heard that before, of course we have to really claim that and see what has went wrong.
Right. Any plans for the future? How will the journal look like, let's say, in 5 years from now?
Well, I wouldn't say that we'll go for 5 years. Let's go for the next year.
Okay.
So we plan to have visual abstracts for each and every article, and we are currently looking for a trainee editor who is able to assist us there. I think that's quite important. We really look forward to embellish our figures, to have a better representation on social media, and of course, content-wise, we want to go for the best of the best papers. And also, I think we will probably publish more guidelines that come through us via the Standard Guidelines Committee of the UEG.
Open access is another term in this respect. What's your take on that?
Well, UEG is in the position that we really want that knowledge is freely available for everybody who visits the conference. And that's the position that we have taken. So I would like that the content is published in the UEG journal gets to a broader audience available. And that's, having said that, I think we support Plan S, which means open access for all the material that is being created with government money should be possible.
Right. One question which interests me myself is, how do you organize your work? How much time of a week, so to speak, or a day or a month do you assign to the journal? Do you have certain time slots, so to speak? How do you do that? How do you cooperate together? I mean, the collaboration?
We have a special platform where we get emails when something new is coming up or popping up. So of course Joost is in the most work because he has to read most of the papers, and then you get a note that there is that you need to select reviewers or take a look at the manuscript. And the funny thing is, at least for me, that sometimes we have 5 submissions within 2 days, and sometimes you have no submission within 2 weeks. So you never know exactly. But what at least I think all of us in the team are trying to do is that we try to handle it as fast as possible, because we also realize that the time from submission to acceptance is extremely critical for the success of a journal. So there are no fixed time points a day where you can say this is my UEGJ time, but we do our best to handle it as fast as possible.
You have to do the work when the work is there.
Yeah.
True. So
Pops
I mean,
up.
I mean, I try to do it as much as possible, as frequently as possible. Be it 5, 10, 20 minutes during the day, but also in the evening and sometimes in the early morning.
Yeah. Always good time during the day in the early morning.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Joost
Thank
and
you.
Alexander, for being here, for joining us, and all the best for your journal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.